Costas back at halftime with O.J. Simpson and Will McDonough. The talk of the AFC right now would have to be the Miami Dolphins. They're doing it with defense. They ran their record to 7-1. And if the season were to end right now, they would have the best record in the AFC by virtue of the tiebreaker, because even if Buffalo beats Cleveland, both those teams would be 7-1, and Miami defeated Buffalo earlier this year.
Well, Miami is tough. You know, for years we've been seeing them at the top of the rankings on offense with Marino throwing the football, but now it's defense, and mainly because of the acquisition of Tim McKyer at corner, and they have J.B. Brown at the other corner, and those guys are able to play man coverage. It frees up the safeties. They help with the running game, and they're just playing super defense, and that's why they're at the top of the heap right now. And defense wins championships.
Raiders didn't keep pace today. They fall to 6-2, losing at Kansas City.
Yeah, the big thing in that game was both sides were dropping the ball all over the place. I think a lot of it had to do with the bad weather out there, but you got to give Kansas City credit. On the ground, they were stopped in the first half. They only had 22 yards rushing, but then when they had to hold on to the lead in the second game, they rushed for 103 yards in the second half, and that's why they won the game.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights of Miami's victory over Phoenix by a score of 23-3. Don Shula's new no-names lead the NFL now statistically in defense, and they hold Phoenix just an Al Del Greco field goal today. Now, Dan Marino is no longer racking up the spectacular numbers, but he's quietly efficient. Throws to Tony Page for a 17-yard touchdown. Now the defense does it in the second quarter. Tim Rosenblatt a throw for Phoenix. Former Cardinal E.J. Jr. strips him of the ball. Jeff Cross recovers it. It leads to a Pete Stoyanovich field goal and a 10-0 Miami lead. On to the third quarter as they lengthen it to 20-3. Mark Clayton on the slant pattern latches on to the 7-yarder from Marino. 2 TD passes on the day for Dan. 23-3 Miami. And next week, O.J., you'll be here on the pregame show with a look at what we're calling the new no-names, the 1990 Miami defense.
Well, they got a couple of guys there, you know. Offerdahl, he's playing uninjured for a change, playing Super Bowl, and a kid that showed up last year, Jeff Cross, he's got about 9 or 10 sacks. And once again, those cornerbacks are playing some Super Bowl for him. We know they have 2 young, excellent safeties, and Williams and Louis Oliver. So this is an excellent football team, excellent defensive football team. They're young, they're aggressive, and once again, they say offense sells tickets and defense wins championships.
They go against the Jets at the Meadowlands next week. The schedule is fairly favorable for Miami the rest of the way.
Yeah, it is, and they're particularly tough and have been historically late in the year playing in the Orange Bowl. I mean, it's always been a breakdown there when you get teams coming out of the north to go down there and play in December. But next week's in the Meadowlands, and the Jets have played very well the last 2 weeks. They're the champions of Texas, beating Houston and Dallas in back-to-back Sundays.
Assuming Buffalo continues to play well, the game people will begin to point toward will be the matchup in Week 16 at Buffalo, Miami and the Bills.
That's right. Now, you got to remember, in Miami, Miami handled them easily, and that's when we were on here and everybody was talking about the Bills upset after the game. There was dissension. Ever since that ball game, Buffalo's played terrific.
All right, Will, O.J., sit tight. We'll get back to you eventually, and we'll clear out of here for just a moment as the NFL on NBC continues.
This is Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy back at sold-out Cleveland Stadium, where Thurman Thomas, the Bills' Pro Bowl runner, has been in the end zone twice in the first half. Cleveland's misfired a couple of times. They would have tied the game and been able to get it in down close. But the Bills hold a 14-0 lead. Now we go to Bob Costas at NFL Live. Bob?
All right, Don, thanks very much. We'll hear from Will and O.J. in just a moment. But first, a recap of the scores, beginning with the games that started at 1 o'clock Eastern Time earlier today at Arrowhead Stadium. Bo Jackson's return to Kansas City, this time as the enemy. The Chiefs' special teams continue to excel. Kevin Porter with the block, 5th blocked punt of the year for KC, led to one of 3 Nick Lowry field goals. They win 9-7. The 49ers, Roger Craig, back after missing the last 3 games, only games he's ever missed in his career. At Green Bay, Joe Montana with his 3rd touchdown pass of the day. 19 for the season, hitting Brent Jones with this one. San Francisco down 10 at 1 point wins, 24-20. Don Shula and his Dolphins are #1 statistically in NFL team defense. Dan Marino, quietly efficient this year, no longer as spectacular as he once was. Tony Page latches on to one of Marino's 2 touchdown passes. They shut Phoenix down. Sam Weish back home after a 5-game road trip, but bad news for him at Riverfront. That's Ironhead Hayward in for the touchdown, and the Saints upset the Bengals in Cincy, 21-7. Buddy Ryan's Eagles to the 500 mark for the first time this year at 4-4 on a day that belonged to Randall Cunningham. He threw for 4 touchdowns, including this one to the great tight end Keith Jackson. Cunningham also carried the ball 8 times for 124 yards, a 100-yard rushing game for the quarterback. Eagles win 48-20 over the hapless Patriots. Jimmy Johnson couldn't have been smiling after this play. Here he is barking out some instructions at his team. And here is a record-tying punt return by Terrence Mathis, a Jet rookie out of New Mexico. 98 yards he goes, the 4th time in league history that a punt has been brought back 98 yards, top figure ever, and it helps the Jets to a 24-9 win over the Cowboys. 2 head coaches who have a history of bad blood, obviously. Atlanta's Jerry Glanville, Pittsburgh's Chuck Noll. 3 Greg Davis field goals gave Glanville an early 9-0 lead, but Pittsburgh comes back with Bubby Brister throwing for 2 scores, including this one in the second half to Mike Mularkey covering 19 yards. Pittsburgh now ties Cincinnati at 5-4 for the lead in the AFC Central. Now, the wildest game of the day had to be at the Silverdome, where Washington staged the biggest comeback of the season so far in the NFL. They were down 35-14, 3 touchdowns down with 10 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. At that point, they yanked Stan Humphries. In came Jeff Rutledge, and here's what Rutledge did in less than a half. He completed 30 of 42 for 363 yards and a touchdown. He also ran for a touchdown with 18 seconds to go on a quarterback draw from 12 yards out. That tied it, and Chip Lohmiller's 34-yard field goal won it in overtime. The Redskins 41 and the Lions 38. Now, games in progress. Buffalo on a pair of Thurman Thomas touchdown runs, leading at Cleveland at halftime 14-0. Buffalo trying to keep pace with Miami atop the AFC East as they try to go to 7-1. Cleveland started Mike Pagel at quarterback. He hasn't generated anything thus far for the 2-6 Browns. Chicago with a 17-0 halftime lead at Tampa Bay. The Bears trying to win for the 7th time in 8 starts. Brad Muster and Neil Anderson have scoring runs, 17-0 in favor of the Bears. They've intercepted Vinny Testaverde 3 times in the first half. The Rams have the halftime lead over Houston. The score there is 17-10. Jim Everett's 15th TD pass of the year, a 2-yarder to Damone Johnson, is the difference. Earlier, Warren Moon, 40 yards to Drew Hill, 19th touchdown throw of the year for Moon. For the moment, he is tied with Joe Montana for the league lead. And San Diego has the lead at Seattle, 14-7. They've just gone to halftime at the Kingdome. A pair of Billy Joe Tolliver touchdown passes, one to Ronnie Harmon, then a 45-yarder to Quinn Early. The difference there, San Diego by a touchdown. Juice, how about those Dolphins?
I tell you what, the big story in the league is the Dolphin defense. And, you know, last year we saw them begin to emerge with those 2 fine safeties, Jarvis Williams and Lewis Oliver, and Jeff Cross is one of the finest pass rushers in the league. And you got a healthy John Offerdahl and Hugh Williams. They're happy. 2 older guys. They're all pro-caliber players. But the keys to this defense are the play of their 2 cornerbacks. Tim McKyer, they got him from the 49ers, and J.B. Brown, second-year man. This allows the Miami defense to play man-to-man. They can take those wide receivers out of the game, bring those safeties up to the line of scrimmage, and help with the run. And that's why they're at the very top of the heap defensively in the league.
More on that as O.J. features the Dolphin defense next week on the pregame show. And we're back after this from your local stations.
He's cheated his wife.
I am broke. I'm busted.
Owes his bookie.
Where's my money?
And thinks he's gonna die.
How long have I got?
So he double-crossed the mob.
Are you crazy?
Then a medical miracle saves his life. A life story like you've never seen. Tonight at 8 on NBC.